Hello everyone, it's Jan Monahan for Rapping with Jan. I hope you're having a good day. I will be working on, for this edition, um, the August Hero Arts Kit, and this is all about coffee and tea and lots of lattes. I am not a coffee drinker, but I've got lots of friends who are, and I think I'll have a lot of fun with this. At this point, I just checked the website. It is not sold out, but that doesn't mean it won't be sold out tomorrow. So if you're interested, get a move on. I went ahead and did the unboxing, and there's a lot of stuff in this. We've got all the clear stamps. We had 2 sheets of what they're calling tea dyed or coffee dyed paper. It's not really cardstock, it's just paper. We've got the coordinating dies to all the stamps, and we've also got this storefront thing, the storefront die. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'll try something. And 2 other things that I'm anxious to try is the Puffy White embossing powder and the crystal lacquer. And we'll see what we can do. I think this is probably a good one for the whipped cream and on top of the lattes and hot chocolate and what have you. So let's get started. I am working on a gift bag, and I think that this is a wonderful set to give to somebody who enjoys coffee. Give a coffee mug, tea, anything, any hot drink there is. So what I've done so far, I've taken a medium gift bag, and I have attached one of the tea dyed or coffee dyed decorative papers, and we're going to start by building a coffee tower. That's probably the best way to explain it. And I went ahead and in my MISTI I stamped all the images with the exception of one, the to-go cup. I didn't do that. I stamped all the images and I colored them in with my Copic markers. And now I'm going to put them all together and make kind of a tower. I suppose it would be a Tower of Babel, because these coffee cups are going to start talking here, and you'll see why in a minute. I appreciate all the comments that everybody gave me last month. I was not feeling well. I'd come back from vacation, and I had a sinus infection like no other. And all the well wishes, and thank you very much, and I am very much on the mend. I feel much, much better. So now we've got our tower here, and what I have done from the March 2018 kit, and I think it was just hello there. I don't remember what the title of it was or what it was called, but I cut out several conversation bubbles, and I took a lot of the sayings from here, and they all fit in the conversation bubbles, which was convenient. Things like give it a shot, but coffee first, Java Junkie, and all these different sayings. And I went ahead and I stamped them all. And let's see, what am I going to do here? This and this, and there we go. Yeah, okay. taking, now this is the first thing this time I'm working on the Nuvo Deluxe Clear Adhesive. I have not tried this, and this will be the first time, and I'll let you know how I feel about it. But this is going to, we'll adhere that right there. And let's make him talking. Whoops! Let's hope that doesn't hurt anything. And then when I originally put these conversation bubbles on, it was the white was much too stark. It didn't look good, and I needed to soften it. So I'll show you what I did. I took some brown ink, and any brown ink will do, just so long as it blends. And I started by going around the outside just to soften the edges, and just ever so slightly. I made this look coffee stained, and I didn't do it all. I just made it just kind of made it random. Some of it is still the color of the cardstock, and some of it's still, or some of it is the brown ink. So it looks coffee stained too. We'll put these on. Whoops, wrong one. And who doesn't have a, there we go. He's not saying anything, so now he's saying something. And he's saying something. And the last one, we will put right in there, right underneath, and get stuff done. All right, now we're done with the bag. Let's make a tag. The tags I have are, by design, they're not very big. And I used to put big tags on my gift wrap, and then I realized it wasn't, it was covering up my designs. So I worked with a tag company, and they came up with a size that was right for what I was doing. And for all this, I've been using intense black ink. There we go. All right. And just for a little added interest, I'm going to color in this. And this is a really cute heart, people. And let's see here. I'm using raffia to put this on. I have tried to use wired ribbon. That doesn't work so well. And raffia is the only material that I think goes with the craft colored bags. And I've got, what is this? These three colors. One is black, one is natural, and I think the other one is oatmeal. But if you go to the Bearwick website, they'll be able to help you. Oh, come on. There we go. Now let's do that again. And as always, it's not cooperating. And that's okay. Yeah, that's much better. All right. Okay. And in Wrapping with Jan style, here is project number 1. And we'll be going on to project number 2. I'm going to take a quick break from projects to give you a comparison of different ways that you can make whipped cream look more authentic. I have 4 products here. I have Nuvo Crystal Drops, and I believe this is Simply White. I have a Snow Marker by Marvy. I've got the Puffy embossing powder that came with the kit, and the Crystal Clear lacquer that came with the kit. I've also got a Versamarker and with the exception of the Crystal Clear lacquer and the Puffy embossing powder, most of these are available either online or at your local craft store. But I just want to give you some options, and I want you to see what each one looks like. I'm going to, and I put on, I think this is Neenah 110-pound cardstock. I've just used a water-based brown ink with the whipped cream stamp from the kit, and I just want you to see the difference in the final product of all these options. Now, the Simply White Nuvo drops are going to take a while to dry, and I did this a few hours ago, and the ink started to bleed into the Nuvo drops. I tried to be careful, but we'll see what happens here. Now, the Marvy Snow Marker, and this gives good results, but it's very difficult to control. It's one of those pump pens, and I'll show you what I mean by difficult to control. You won't, with this, you'll get lots of nice fluffy whipped cream, but you really won't get any, what would you call these, swirls or any, you'll get dimension, but not a whole lot of, I'm not quite sure what the word would be. but it's just going to look like somebody just didn't take any time to squirt on. Whoa, that's what I mean right there. Okay. Now let me hit this with the heat gun, and I apologize for the sound, and this will take a while, and you need to be very, very careful because this, if it heats up enough, it will scorch, and there goes your project. So let's take a look and see what happens. Okay. This gives a nice puffy, it's kind of a spongy material, and it might flatten if it goes through the mail, but if it isn't touched, it'll remain nice and fluffy. Now, the next one is the fluffy embossing powder plus the Versamarker. So basically, the fluffy embossing powder alone. And I'm putting a fair amount of Versamark liquid on this image. And hopefully this will stick. Excuse me. Okay, once again, I'm going to hit this with a heat gun. And as you can see, it's very grainy. Apparently I didn't get enough Versamark ink on there, but there isn't any dimension to it. It's just kind of, if you've ever been skiing and you've seen those snow machines, it kind of looks like that kind of snow. It doesn't look real. Okay, here is the crystal clear lacquer pen with the puffy white embossing powder. And once again, you need to take care that you don't overheat this because it will scorch. So if you're working with kids, you need to take care and make sure nobody gets burned. So there is the crystal clear lacquer. And once again, here is the puffy white embossing powder that came in the kit. And I'll hit this with the heat gun once again. Okay, so now the white Nuvo drops, it is starting to reflect the ink underneath, and I'm sure as it dries, we'll see a little bit more. The Marvy Snow Marker. You can't see the design of the whipped cream stamp, but it is puffy. And with just the puffy white embossing powder, it's just grainy, not really very impressive. And the crystal clear lacquer pen plus the puffy white embossing powder, there's more, not only dimension, but it does look like you took care when you were squirting out that whipped cream. So these are 4 options. One's not particularly better than the other, but I just wanted to make you aware of some of the products that you can buy. Now there are some stores that will only carry the Marvy Snow Marker during the holidays. I've used this for like lambs, for Easter, lambs in a nativity scene, plus snow and snow on trees. And you could probably use the same thing for the Simply White Nuvo drops. So that's a quick tutorial on how to make whipped cream and snow. All right, on to project number 2. Okay, on to project number 2. I'm not going to go through step by step what I did. It's pretty straightforward. This particular kit lends itself to Christmas tags, all kinds of different tags. And first tag I made with this is a kind of a Rudolph tag. And I hope you can see what I did. I just used Christmas washi tape out of my stash, and I went ahead and stamped and die cut both the to-go cup and the frothy stuff on the top. Plus I've got 2, I don't know if you can see it here, but the 2 straws I made into antlers, and I put 2 wiggle eyes, and I used some, was it Stickles? Is that what I used? Yeah, I used Stickles for his nose, so I thought that was pretty cute. And then I used Nuvo drops for this particular one. Espresso yourself, and somebody spilled their coffee, and this was a 2-minute card, 2-minute gift tag, and I used the ribbon from the kit. So that's a quickie. And another quickie, I've taken, now where did I put that? This is an oldie but a goodie. This is stamps from Judith, and it's one of her, I don't know what you call them, chubby stamps, but this is a coffee bean. And I put stamped the coffee beans all over the front of it. And I put coffee is always a good idea. And then once again I used the Stickles for the heart. And the same ribbon that came with the kit, I used that. So this is the extent of project number 2. If you have any questions about it, please leave me a comment, leave me a question, and I'll be happy to answer anything. All right, on to project number 3. This is a real simple one. This particular stencil I have had for years. You can tell that it's been well used. And when I got the kit in the mail, this is the first thing that came to mind. So this is a stencil, and I'm not sure who this is by. It's Stencil Girl products, and I will leave that on the bottom of your screen, so you can get a hold of that. I believe I got this from Simon Says Stamp. I'll have to look that up, but I think that's where I got it. So what we're going to do is, this is my card base. Where did I put it? Did I lose it again? No, here it is. Okay, here's my card base, and this is my card front. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this tape, and this will secure it all. Here we go. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this over. I don't like where this is sitting. And I think a little bit more. All right, there we go. Okay. Now, let's hope it stays. And I've got some coffee colored. Matter of fact, I think this is Altenew. Oh, this is Espresso. This is it's color Espresso from Altenew. And I'm just going to use my blending tool and blend this right through. And it will look like coffee stains on someone's counter. When I bought this, my husband said, well, why didn't you just make yourself a pot of coffee and make the stains yourself on the bottom of a coffee cup? And I guess he just doesn't get it. This is a whole lot more fun than making coffee. Anyhow, that's the non-creative side of him coming out. Okay, let's take a look at this and see what's going on. Oh, that is nice. Okay. And I'll make sure to wipe that off later. Okay. Now I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna glue this down to my card front. And like I said, this is going to be it's a black, white, and brown card. Alright. And then, from the kit, I stamped and embossed and cut out a coffee cup. So we'll put that there. I'm going to have the handle hanging off just a little bit. Keep things interesting. And then, once again, from the, I believe it was the March kit of this year, there was a Hugs die in there, and I'm going to go ahead and affix this to the front. And once again, I'm using Nuvo, what do they call this? Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. And, all right. There's that. Gonna wipe that up. Okay, there we go. And true to form, I'm not one to make a card without making an envelope. And so I did the same thing with that stencil that I did with the card front. And I'm also going to add a little something. This could be a hello card, it could be an encouragement card, just to say hi. But here's a hug and a mug. So we got that. So there, quick and easy, is project number 3. On to project number 4. All right, on to project number 4. This is a birthday card for a gentleman. He's a co-worker, and a wonderful one at that. And there's no hard and fast rules for cards for guys, but I do have some guidelines. First and foremost, no flowers, no pink. Purple's pushing it, but neutral, earth tones, things like that, and just a plain and simple. So, okay, here we go. What I've got here is this is a Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz collection. This is from his Birch and Pine stamps. And I've got the pine here, and I'm starting with some intense black ink with my Misty. And because this already has because the stamp already has a cushion on it, I have taken the pad out of my Misty so I can get a better stamp, but get a better impression. I've also taken some masking paper and I put an oval in the middle of it. So, and you'll see why in just a minute. Okay, let's hope we only have to do that once. There we go. All right, that's good. Now for the next, since the stamp's not big enough, we're going to move this up as far as we can. And let's see if that covers. Nope, not quite. Okay, let's move this down just a little more. And let's hope that works. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. And I'm going to ink this up again. Oops. Get my magnets out of the way first. There we go. Much better. And there will be some overlap, but I'm hoping it's not too much. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, no worries there. All right, now I have done the same thing to my envelope, and I've got a 5.5 by 5.5 envelope, and my card base is 5 by 5, and no, I'm sorry, card base is 5.25 by 5.25, and my card front is 5 by 5, so it's a 1/4 inch each time. And I'm taking some of, now where did I put it? Here it is. I'm taking some vintage photo, and this is on my envelope. And I'm just going to very quickly blend this in using my blending tool. And magically, and again, this is my envelope. I'm going to move this, and we've got a place for our address. So, now I probably shouldn't have removed that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some drops on this. Weather it even more. This guy's the real outdoorsy type. Goes kayaking and everything else. All right, we'll let that dry. And then we'll do the same to my card panel. And I think most of us would agree that making cards for guys, unless it's your husband or your brother or somebody in the immediate family, it's tough, because if they're just a friend, you don't want to give them the wrong message, and you don't want to make their wives mad. So the tougher it looks, I think the better off you are. And wood and maybe fish, who knows, who knows. But anyway, okay, there's that. And once again, okay, we'll let that dry. Tape on the back. And center this as best you can. And now it's time to finish the card. We'll take off this masking paper. Uh-oh. There we go. Well, that's never happened before. So, word of caution, don't get the masking paper wet, because it's gonna stick. Okay, And I've taken from an old stamp set, Happy Birthday. And then from the kit, but first, coffee. There we are. And I've just taken the disposable cup, because that's what we drink at work. Nobody has any, we don't have any fancy china. I wouldn't trust most of them with fancy china. But I did use my Copic markers. And there you go. A very masculine card. And an envelope. So I think I'm going to put this on my Etsy site. So if anybody wants this, come and get it. It's Etsy.com, and it's Bag Lady Gifts. And you'll know when you're there, because you'll see it. All right, on to my last project. Okay, project number 5. This is, I'm going to make a tag. Not sure what I'm going to use it for yet, but I'm going to do it anyway. I am using Distress Resist Spray. Can you see that? I hope. There we go. And this is another Tim Holtz product. And I've already made the mistake for you of spraying it without spraying it in the box. And I had a devil of a time getting it off my glass mat. So now that I've made that mistake for you, you don't have to make it. So what I'm doing here, this is just a, this is one of the journaling tags. And I'm using an All Create stencil. It started out like this, and I cut it in half because I was making the tag. So sorry about that, All Create, if you wanted it to be the full one. But anyway, okay. What we need to do here is give it a good spritz. And I've got a piece of release paper down here to cover up the lower half. And I'm going to move this around. And spray it some more. And we're going to let that dry. And while we're letting that dry, I am going to go wash off my stencil so I don't ruin it permanently. And I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, our tag with Distress Resist Spray has dried. And I did use that stencil, but I didn't have a great amount of success with it. So I would not recommend doing that particular one. It didn't blotch up like I wanted to, so I just kind of did the free-for-all thing and squirted it on there. We'll see how it turns out. I'm using 3 colors of Distress Oxide. I'm using Picked Raspberry, Abandoned Coral, and Fossilized Amber. As you can tell, these are very loved. I'm going to start out with the Picked Raspberry. And just like I did with the man's birthday card, I'm going to start blending. Now it would be very interesting just to leave it like this, but I would like to give this to someone, so we need to put a little bit more on it. And what I'm doing here, I have colored with my Copics the top-down cup of coffee, latte, espresso, whatever you want to use it. Now, I had never, up to this point, I had never used Versamark on top of Copic markers, and I must say it works wonderfully, and I'll show you that. I've got all the little designs that people make with the cream, and I'm going to put those, and I've also got white embossing powder. Oops. And we'll take a look and see what this does. And ta-da! And it works very well. I didn't know whether it was going to work or not, so I'm glad I tried it, and now that I've done it, you guys can do it too. I'm going to go ahead and do the others off camera, but I'm going to finish this off with the sentiment. And I'm using Sending You a Lot of Love. And there we go. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done.